All right, good evening, everyone. This is episode one of ARMANOgeddon, and will be the first episode of our podcast. I apologize of how awful this goes. I'm currently listening to myself on my own headphones as I speak this, and I can't get used to this. This is bound to be a train wreck, as I have no formal recording experience, and this is the first time I'm actually using GarageBand. I have no microphone, and if anyone is interested in the setup I'm using, it's by no means admirable, but I have a MacBook Air laptop. I got Skull Candy over-ear headphones that are currently plugged in old school style. I'm using an aux cord. I hear my own voice in my headphones again, and it feels like I'm talking really slow. So, what is the plan for this podcast? Well, I think we ought to try it out because it's free, so we might as well do it. In speaking with a friend the other day, someone who is a few years older than I began to ponder career advice as I found myself entrenched in the damp and measly living of corporate America. But there is hope, so listen along, folks. So, in spinning my wheels, thinking of an idea of what should my new trajectory be, I asked someone who's a bit older, who has a well-established career as an architect, and the advice I was given was to join the military and then fake a disability after 2 years and collect and reap the benefits of that. Now, that is a noble plan, but I don't think it is my plan. So, here I am, the day after we're recording our first ever podcast, and it's bound to be a hoot. I have some notes jotted down here. I have no co-host at the moment. So, we're going to do the word of the day, because I like words. And if people want to follow along, if there are already listeners, I'm using the classic, renowned Merriam-Webster.com dictionary, that good old school thing. We're doing it modern, though. We don't got the thick textbooks sitting on the desk. All right, so the word of the day is going to be allusion. 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 And Merriam-Webster.com gives the definition as: an allusion is a reference to something that avoids mentioning a thing directly. Allusion may also describe the use of such a statement or the act of alluding to something. Now, the sentence it offers to supplement it, it is: the lyric contains biblical allusions. Now that's kind of ironic considering the current working name of this podcast is ARMANOgeddon, and that is making, of course, biblical allusion to the book of Revelations. Not to get overly religious on the first episode or stir up some controversy, as people from Britain would say. All right. Yeah, so largely this podcast is self-indulgent, because I like to hear myself talk and ramble, and this might grow, it might not. Now, I don't have a microphone because I figured I didn't want to be too fancy for the very first episode, and if I could get to 3 or 4 episodes, let's call it 4, let's be bold, then I'll invest in a microphone and treat you lovely folks at home to some better audio quality. And hopefully with that time we learn some better audio tricks. Maybe we have a picture or two put up on the YouTube channel. That's the only way at the moment. I don't have an Instagram, don't have any other forms of social media. I have Snapchat, I use occasionally. But right now we're just going to be found on YouTube for the time being, and we'll see how it goes. I've noticed right now I have not said a swear word. I'm not opposed to it. This is actually reminding me of an old game I used to play during the middle school lunchroom. sitting at a table of friend and foe alike. Um, we used to try and go as long as possible without cursing, and the first person to curse, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. The first person to curse would be responsible for throwing everyone else's lunch out at the table at the end of the period. Yeah, it sounds very wholesome. Usually didn't end so, and again, the difficulty would always be someone would walk in and say, "Holy fucking shit, did you see what happened there?" And in a result, laughs would ensue. So there we go. That's the first curse of the podcast, and it looks like I'll be throwing out my own lunch this evening. All right, so I'm thinking of things to talk about for the first episode. As I'm watching the timer grow, I'm realizing to do a podcast for an hour of conversation, half hour. I'm not even at 10 minutes yet. I'm currently at 6 minutes in. This is more difficult than it seems, and I should brainstorm some segments to talk about. So I'm just going to look around my room right now. I'm looking at a bookshelf. I just finished reading a novel written by P.T. Barnum. Before that, I read some Norm Macdonald based on a memoir. Big fan of his, but I'm the biggest fan of Stephen King, and that is who sits right before him. I made my way through the 5th book in the Dark Tower series, Wolves of the Calla. Nobody spoiled the last 2 ones. I'm going to get to them eventually. Ironically, I like to wait and parcel them out, much like the crazed character from Misery. Alright, then before that, I read Tales from Watership Down by Richard Adams, a collection of short stories. Then I read Always Running by Luis Rodriguez. I'm just going to keep going right now. I have Ghost Story by Peter Straub. There's the first book I checked out by him. Fun read, a little dense. And then before that, and then we'll stop talking about books because I don't want to sound pompous, and we're going to try some different subjects, is Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. Highly recommend this book to anyone who hasn't read it. Wasn't sold on it at all for the first half. Found it overly verbose. But about halfway through, it takes a dramatic shift, and my beliefs about the book were correct. It turns out to be one of the greatest things I ever read. Would highly recommend. That's enough of books. All right. I'm at 8 minutes right now. I think a good goal for this first day would maybe get to 10 minutes. So we're just going to keep endlessly and mindlessly rambling, and hopefully we find traction somewhere. And then I have to figure out how I'm going to upload this thing to YouTube. I've never done that. Don't know if I could do it all in one file. Don't know how it's going to sound. Don't know how my voice sounds. The voice, as people probably know, sounds very different. And the issue I'm having right now is I think I'm talking too low because I can't hear my voice except coming through my headphones, which sounds awkward. All right. This is a stupid, silly thing I thought of that made my friends laugh, so we're going to talk about it. Apparently during COVID, there was an issue at the Museum of Natural History, and that they were short of funding, and they were going to have to close down, which is an odd thing to me because I don't know why you can't preserve history if there is no money. It seems to be not affected by it. Are they going to stop taking notes? Are people going to stop remembering events? Are they going to break the statues of the woolly mammoths? Are they going to try and erase our memory? Are we veering towards conspiracy theories? I don't know. It's still the first episode. So we're still looking for traction and different areas. In the next episodes, I know how to play some guitar. Maybe we'll write some silly songs. Maybe not. Right now, again, just rambling, finding traction, finding the groove. I also have to pick a image for the channel. Don't know how to do that. I was looking at some other people's YouTube channels. They have some very customized ones. Now, considering this is the first episode, and I have virtually no experience doing anything like this, and I am pretty awful with technology, I think that might have to wait an episode or two. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it for episode 1. Thank you everyone for tuning in if you did. If not, hopefully you tune in the next time or two. Maybe we'll do an episode daily, maybe every other day. In the beginning, don't quote me on this, but I'd like to maybe do them every day just so I could learn how to function and do this audio equipment. Alright, thank you guys.